Well, what does that mean for us today? Perhaps it means that we belong here. How many of you, the first time you came into this church, didn't feel like you belonged in a church? How many of you have had someone else tell you that you're not a real Christian or you can't be a Christian? Right? Because of something you believe, because of something about yourself, because of who you are, because of who you love. We've all been told that. And yet here we are, Christians, right? Here we are, tax collectors. And we came to this place not to vilify others, but to say, God, have mercy on me. Now this, I think, matters particularly for us at Memorial because this is part of our character. We've always kind of pushed that boundary. We've always been a place that other folks have said, does that count as church? Right? Is that, I mean, and not just like, other kinds of Christians, but other Episcopalians have said that, right? And I think sometimes we internalize that too much, that we think because that is the case, that we are always on the outside, that we're always kind of, we're Christians but not totally Christians, we're Episcopalians but not totally Episcopalians, we're part of God's people, but we're like the last people in line. And we forget that God takes those last people and puts them first. That God takes those people who don't think they belong and makes them the central part of the story. And that's been the story from the beginning, right? Noah did not think he was called. Moses did not think he was called. Jacob's son Joseph was the youngest and the lowest. They had to go back out into the fields to get David to bring him back because David's father was like, no, not this kid, right? Over and over, that has been the story, that it is the one who was unexpected that becomes the leader in the world, that becomes the example for everybody else. And yet every time it happens, we're surprised. So maybe that's who Memorial needs to be today. Can we be the Davids? Can we be the Pauls? Can we be the Esthers, who was made for a time like this? Can we be the unexpected voice that helps bring the church back to where it needs to be? You all know the line from Scripture, the stone the builders rejected becomes the chief. And that's not Jesus who says that, that's David who says it in the Psalms. And Jesus carries it through. It is an old story made new by Jesus and made new again by us. Becoming that cornerstone, that leading example of what the church needs now. And we are uniquely prepped to do that as a community. We are uniquely prepped to welcome people, to be that example. Because I look out and see a room full of people who came in just like that. And I'm here to remind you that you are now the cornerstone. You do not believe me. I understand. David didn't believe it. Paul didn't believe it. Esther didn't believe it. Samson didn't believe it. But it was true. And it is true for us. We are that example for the rest of the church because we are willing to take risks that others are not willing to take. We are willing to challenge ourselves in ways that others are not willing to challenge ourselves. And we are willing to be an example of God's radical redeeming love for all here in this place. So here we are, at the beginning of our stewardship season. You all have a letter in your bulletins talking about this. And I want us to think of ourselves as that cornerstone. And what we do as we contribute to this place in 2020 and in the years to come is we seek to continue to build that temple. Not this temple, it's already built. But the temple that continues to serve as a welcome for people. This metaphorical and yet very real place that we are when we go out into a community and people see us, and instead of saying, look at those Memorialites, they say, look at those people from Memorial. Look at that community of love. I want to be a part of that community. So if this community has been that for you, I hope you will consider that as you make your pledge in 2020. And I hope you will consider that as we continue to build this place. And if you're just coming into this place, if you're that tax collector walking through the door, who's coming to the altar rail for the first time saying, God, have mercy on me. God, love me. God, forgive me. Keep coming back. You are welcome here. God does love you. We do love you. And this is a home for you. Amen.